Hey PlayStation Universe, it's Kyle Prawl and Will Robinson here in front of the Sony Gear tent. We're checking out merchandise a little bit ago, but we'll show you some vines of that later. We're actually going to talk about Ratchet & Clank here on the morning of day 2. And this is a game that we played yesterday on the show floor, both in individual sessions. As just a little background, this is Insomniac Games' return to Ratchet & Clank, kind of in the wake or the aftermath or just parallel with the new film coming out. And they're revisiting the original storyline with Chairman Drek, Captain Quark, all your familiar faces, but kind of rolling back the story of Ratchet & Clank to sort of retell that origin, retell that vision. So, Will, let's kick off. Tell me about the first level and tell me what you thought.
It felt totally natural going back into it, because it's been a while since I explored Ratchet & Clank, but man, it was so easily the best playable version of Ratchet & Clank ever released.
And that's so crazy to think about because you and I are both hardcore Ratchet & Clank fans, having played every series entry to death. Back in the PS2, even Deadlocked, we loved the crap out of Deadlocked. Yeah, the PSP versions, Future, all the way up through, and to only spend 15 minutes with this version. But yeah, it was absolutely mechanically solid. I think one thing that really stood out to me was the seamless transition between the sort of free-roaming platforming and the strafe mode, which is essentially just you start firing your weapon and the game intelligently switches to the other one and then switches back when you stop firing, so you really don't even have to hold the trigger. But what did you think of some of the weapons?
I didn't get to, well, there were 2 different missions that we could do. I did the one where we were exploring Metropolis and running through there.
Yeah.
So there were only 4 weapon choices for that one, which were the traditional blaster,
You had the pixelator, right? The more of the shotgun blast.
Yeah, that was the new weapon in the group, but then there was the destroyer? The rocket or the...
I think the combustor was your basic pistol, and there might have been the pyrociter.
The rocket, and then
But it was an interesting train segment, right? Where you're kind of using the grappling hook. I lose the name, but some of those familiar tools are back. The slingshot. There you go. The swing shot.
Yep.
But yeah, chasing some familiar goons. But man, the scope and the just the breadth of diversity and visual luster in that city was really fantastic.
Totally new enemies and stuff too in that, which was cool. And there was the other level that you could play was the fight against the Blargian Snagglebeast. Underneath Captain Quark's hideout. And they actually had that looked amazing, and the creature design for that was completely redone. Well, not completely, but it changed a lot. And they had also new addition for the storyline, where before it was just Quark was just kind of denying that he didn't know anything about it, and then it was over, and then they talked to Quark, and he's like, "Yes, I've tried to kill you all." But at the end of this, he didn't show up in the cutscene at the end. There were scientists that were working for Chairman Drek that basically kind of talked. They were pleading for their lives, and they gave you an infobot, and then that was the end.
And it's great to see the infobot, by the way. So nostalgic to have that come up. Yeah, it is interesting to see the kind of story changes they're making to that game. Obviously, the goal is to retell the origin story, but to see what they decide to omit, what they decide to include is going to be interesting for longtime series fans. And so many weapons were added to that boss fight. I loved bringing out Mr. Zircon. I had him up for the entire fight. My favorite line was probably, "Mr. Zircon will bring you a concerto of suffering." Just classic stuff.
Groovatron made an appearance in there too. So.
And I like to see that was actually effective against the boss in a way that they usually don't do, and they don't allow.
Speaking of that though, for the Groovatron being present in that version means that they're also incorporating a lot of not only entirely new weapons, but they're bringing ones that appeared in later entries back into the original, which is complete. I just realized that now, which is awesome.
Yeah, I still just keep thinking back to using the pixelator for those shotgun blasts, watching them actually turn into that 8-bit pixelated image, and then smacking them for extra damage. It's surprising how creative they can get with a game that ostensibly seems to be removing some of the abilities that we're used to, and hopefully, as it is the origin story, we'll unlock those things as they come. But yeah, we're both just incredibly positive on the game. We loved our time with Ratchet & Clank.
Really excited.
Which is a great surprise. So
yeah,
awesome to see. Maybe a new start for the franchise, some new stuff to come. Thanks for watching our impressions of Ratchet & Clank. Go ahead and check out the trailers, check out the screenshots on PlayStation Universe, and stay tuned for more here from Day 2 at E3. Thanks, guys.